Hey guys, it's DC. So change of plans from our usual Dragon Age Inquisition. The Dragon Age servers weren't connecting very well, and I don't like playing unless that's, connected with everything. So we're gonna play this game that I've been wanting to play for a little bit. This is free on Steam if you guys want to play the first chapter. The second one you'll have to pay for, but I believe the third part is coming up soon as well, or is already out. Check that out. I'll probably have a link in my description to it. I already played a little bit of it so far just to see what it was going to be like, and I really like the art and the ambience of the music. Sounds awesome. So, here, I'll start a new game so we can all see it for ourselves. Should I be, like, talking? I don't know. Do you guys want me to talk? I guess it only really depends. Maybe I'll talk. I'll do it. Should I do like a Batman voice? To be honest, I just happened to be there when things started to get out of control. I was a simple guy, born in the mountains, always drawn in by the wilderness. But my parents wanted me to go to college. Oh, college. They worked hard and saved money only so they could send me there, and I had no heart to refuse. If anything good came out of this venture, it was Natalie. When I first saw her, I thought she was an angel, falling down from the sky. We kissed, we made out. That's the same thing. It was like heaven. But as soon as the world opened up before me, another force pulled me back to Earth. My father was diagnosed with a terminal case of cancer. Sorry, dude. I went back home, back to Grayville. Small town in the middle of nowhere. The one thing that kept this place alive was the nearby military base. Nobody really knew what happened down there, but everybody sure loved talking about it. They said that the military conducted human experiments, or that they kept a UFO, stuff that made kids go and watch, much to their parents' dismay. But I digress. What you need to know is, my father died. I was left alone in my little hometown without any education. I couldn't get a job at the base, and the town didn't have a lot of offers either. Thankfully, my angel didn't forget about me. Natalie called. I asked her to come, so she did. And when I proposed, she gave me a serious look and said, "Kneel before me, man." I looked her straight in the eye, smiled, and just kissed her. I promised I would never kneel before her and that I would always be there for her. I don't have to tell you that she accepted my proposal. I had to wait for her graduate. When she got her degree, I convinced her to move to my part of the world. We got married. She got pregnant twice. In the end, Hope was our only child. Guessing that's Hope. Yeah, marriage falling apart. Yeah, this is usually how it ends up. 10 years later, I found myself with another kind of angel. Natalie became the angel of death that wanted my manhood on a platter. Stupid as I was, I didn't care. I fought back. Are you totally out of your mind? Look who's look who's talking. She's just a little girl. A girl. You know how to recognize one of them, right? Are you serious right now? I'm dead serious, and I'm not letting you take our daughter on a hunt. Really, that's the problem? Why? Do you really want her to be this clueless broad who can't tell right from left? Always dependent on others? You're making her a cripple, which she isn't. She has time to learn how rough the world can get. She's not a child anymore. You should see her when she's out there in the woods. You should see how smart she is and how quickly she learns new things. But I never what? Nothing. Forget it. I can't believe what you were just about to say. You know why I can't be around the forest. You know the whole story. I trusted you with it, and yet... You really think I don't want to be around my family? That's not important to me to be close to you and Hope? Oof, jeez. That's not what I meant. Screw you, Jack. I followed you back to this place so you could take care of your father's house and his legacy, whatever it is. After 12 years, I still can't figure it out, can you? Oh, can you? I refused to stay at college and work on my MD because I was in love with you. You promised me happiness. I believed you. I believed in you. Working my fingers to the bone at the hospital to bring something to the table. I know it's not a banker's job, but I'm doing my best. What's the value you are bringing in? If it wasn't for this falling apart town and this part-time jobs, you wouldn't bring any money to this family. You should have gotten a degree. In this day and age, it really doesn't give a shit even if you got a degree or not. If you had one, you could get a real job. Not even, it's just like every fucking woman back in like the early 2000s. We should stop worrying about money and the mortgage. We could be happy again. I could be happy again. What are you trying to... I sacrificed enough. I gave you everything. Don't you accuse me of being a bad mother, got it? Yeah, you know I appreciate everything you do. I really do. I just wanted to teach Hope something useful. Hunting is a good way of bringing food to our table during hard times. When real winter hits, I need her to give me a hand from time to time. I'm not letting you teach our daughter how to shoot animals with a goddamn gun. You know what? Maybe I wouldn't have to if you'd given me a son. Ow. Yeah. There are times when we don't pay much attention to what's really going on. It all comes down to survival. The survival of ego, expectations, and control. The urge to win and gain an upper hand becomes so powerful it makes us blind to the fact that we are hurting our loved ones in the process. I'll just be quiet. I always admire your compromise, being level-headed when everyone else lost their temper. Sometimes I think it's just an escape. You're running away from me and your own feelings. Silence also means something, you know? You still hold a grudge against me, I can feel it. I know I won't change your mind about the hunting. You'll do as you please. Just be careful with our daughter. She's all I have. What an ass. I shouldn't have been so rough with her. You know, there's really nothing wrong with teaching your child to hunt. If the child wants to go hunting, you know? I feel like there may be, like, an age range where it's, like, not acceptable. If they're, like, too young. But, I mean, like, younger you start them in something, the better. That goes with, like, any sport and any hobby, though. I probably should have gone by myself and never brought up the subject. Didn't expect it to become such a drama. Where are my car keys? I need to get moving. What am I going to say to Hope? I've already promised her. Hey there, Hope. What are you doing there? Come inside. Was Mom crying? Mom doesn't feel very good, sweetie. We need to give her some time. It's not true. Why were you two yelling? Is it because I told Mom I didn't want to go hunting with you? You don't want to go? Why? Why didn't you tell me? We always have so much fun watching wild animals together, Dad. I just don't want to shoot them. I was afraid you'd get angry if I told you, so I told Mom. But now you two are fighting because of me. I wouldn't... Look, it's not your fault. If there's something you don't want to do, just tell me. I won't get angry, I promise. I'm sorry, Dad. It's fine, Hope. There's nothing to be sorry for. What were you up to anyways? You should have been back from school an hour ago. Nothing. Can you imagine, like, your kid just not showing up for, like, an hour and you guys are just... Like, what, you don't even care about it? If it's been, like, a straight hour and my kid hasn't come back from school, I'd be, like, scared shitless. Especially if however old they are, what, they're, like, in overalls and shit. They don't look any more than, like, 7 or something. Maybe a little older, a little younger. That'd scare me shitless. Were you playing near the military base again? Hope? Yeah, but there was so many trucks, and I saw soldiers, and I told you that Murphy's base is not a place for children to hang around. Nobody knows what's in down there. Maybe there are aliens from another planet who came to Earth to kidnap children. Yeah, and then they can read your mind, and if they see you, they can replicate your body. Have you been watching scary movies with Mom again? Yes. No. Well, kind of. Mom was watching alone, and I couldn't sleep, so I slipped in and watched with her. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is not a children's movie, won't you agree? Yeah, it was really scary. Seriously now, no one knows what kind of operations they're running at Murphy's. What's behind that fence? I know you're smart, so I trust you. Can you promise me you won't go near the base alone? I promise. Good girl. Maybe the aliens didn't see you. Or maybe you're one of the replicas. Ah! Where's my beautiful daughter, you bitch? Give her back, you monster! Hope, can you hear me? Dad, it's me. I know you're in there. I'm coming for you, sweetie. I just need to find this abomination first. Grah! I would give away everything to bring back those moments with her, seeing her smile and feeling the pure joy and love around her. I know I keep slipping up everything. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best here. If I was ever truly happy, it was when I was with her and Natalie. Back then, I took it all for granted. I just didn't pay enough attention. Alright, sweetie, I need to get ready for the trip. Can I come? Not this time. I need to take my time and do some thinking. Trust me, it's gonna be super boring. But one day you'll take me with you again, right? I don't want to hunt, but we could still go bird watching together or something. Of course, sweetie. I'll take you with me next time. Great. Can I bring my plush rabbit along? Sure, as long as you keep an eye on him. Where is he anyway? I don't know. I think I lost him again. Have you tried the attic? No, I don't like going to the attic alone. When I come back, we'll look for him together, okay? Promise? Promise. Okay, I'll go look for Mom. I think she's in the kitchen. Wonder what she's up to. She's probably preparing something for you, Dad. You think? Sometimes I wonder why your mom sticks with a clueless guy like me. 'Cause she loves you. How do you know, detective? 'Cause she told me so. I love you too, Dad. I love you too, sweetie. Now run along and make sure you clean up your room before I'm back. Dad? Yes, Pumpkin? Do you really wish you had a son instead of me? It's okay, Dad. I'll go see how Mama's doing. I'll clean the room before you're back. Damn. Dad, you wish I was a boy? Don't answer, I'm gonna leave. As she was walking away, I caught a glimpse of a tear in her eye. I had no idea of the damage I've done that day. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm thinking it's malign force drove me to act like a bastard to my family. Maybe it was my short temper or my lack of restraint. Maybe it was something else. Having a son has always been my dream. I would imagine teaching him everything my father had never taught me. Taking him out into the world, watching him grow and mature, arm wrestling with him and sharing a glass of the same malt, discovering he became a superior man and feeling proud. I mean, you can do that with your daughter. You can literally do all those things with your daughter. But when Natalie got pregnant, I was as clueless as a parking machine. What the fuck does that mean? We lost our unborn baby, and I messed up and lost my chance of becoming what I've been destined to be, a father to a son. Yeah, kid. I mean, like, you know, loss like that is really hard, I understand, but I mean, like, you can't be like, oh, my son, I lost my only chance of being a father to a son. Like, really? Dude, come on. You got a kid, right here. Do all that shit with him. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to realize that things which really matter in life cannot be brought, borrowed, or made. They just appear and disappear as soon as you stop taking notice. Once they're gone, it's impossible to bring them back. It's hard for me to see Hope like this. I know she wants to look tough when she's around me, which should be more often. I'll look for her plush toy once I'm back. She's very attached to it, and no wonder Mr. Rabbit has been with us since forever. Wonder where she lost him this time. She gets distracted sometimes. Anyway, I need to get ready. I got 2 hours drive to make, and it's already getting late. Having a wood house is great, but driving to the country's edge can be tedious. I should drop by Bob's gas station and pick up some supplies. I made you some sandwiches for the road. Thank you, Nat. I wanted to tell you that I'm really hurt by what you said earlier, but I don't want to talk about it right now. You got me thinking, Jack, thinking about you, about us, and about our future. Nat, let me finish. I realize that I'm responsible for my own happiness and shouldn't burden you with it. I decided. What'd you decide? I decided I'm going back to my studies and I want to get my final degree. This is what I always dreamed of, after all. I remember you mentioned it a while ago, but I didn't think you were serious, are you? Why wouldn't I? For starters, this is a huge decision. It will impact our lives. Don't you think we should at least talk about this first? You're talking about it right now! Listen, I know we aren't on the greatest terms right now, but this is a big deal. I only hope we can talk it more over before any decisions are made, okay? Besides, what about Hope? I trust you, Jack. I know you didn't mean what you said earlier. You're always a good father, and you still are. You'll take care of her. To be honest, I realize that I can carry my share of guilt too. I found myself competing with you for Hope's love. It's crazy. Yeah. I don't agree with everything you do, but it's life, I guess. None of us are perfect. We just need to put in effort to make it work. And I know that it won't work if we keep living the same way, away from what we truly want. I want to become a physician, and that's what I'm going to do. Do I get to have a say? Do you really get to have a say? Do you want to stop me? I don't know yet. Well, what do you know, Jack? You were supposed to say, I know, I love you. You know I do. Yeah, but sometimes it's nice to hear it from your husband. Makes you feel appreciated. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm a bit frustrated right now. I feel stuck, you know? I understand. But I'm not changing my mind about getting a degree just like that. It's too important for me. We'll figure something out, Nat. We'll talk about it once you're back. I meant to ask you, is the roadster working? Yeah, I fixed the suspension in the front tire. It should be fine. Last time I ran out of air, Bob came to the rescue, you know. Really? Our Bob? Well, ain't he a stand-up guy? It's not every day a girl gets rescued by a tall, muscular, handsome man. What's wrong? You jealous? Take it like a macho. Shrug it off. I thought you were into older guys, like our Sheriff Hal. Yeah, but I'm not into boring guys. No, wait. Oh my god, you really mean that? Just kidding. If I had feelings, I might have felt something right now. Fortunately, I don't. I need to get ready. Yeah, I've got to run some errands too. Don't forget your sandwiches. I won't, thanks, Nat. I love you. I know you do, Jack. Call me once you reach the cabin. I mean, there are little struggles, but, you know, I feel like it's something they can work through if they really work for it. Reporting in. What's your status? The tracking device works perfectly. I'm 15 clicks away from the target. She's on the move, but appears slow and random. Doesn't look like a challenge. Remember your protocol. Not make a mess. Try bring her in alive if possible. She might be valuable. Yes, sir. We inform you that there is another ascent operating in your area. Should your efforts fail, he will move in. Understood. We're counting on you. Thank you, sir. Now, is it like Natalie, or... Almost everything I needed was at that cabin, but I had a few things picked up. I decided to stop at Bob's. I didn't feel like roaming around a supermarket. Besides, it was the only place to buy gasoline in a 30-mile radius. I also liked the owner. Bob wasn't his real name, but it was how he introduced himself. He told me his real name once, but I wasn't able to pronounce it correctly. His shop was the only place where you could score proper booze. The temptation was firmly there when I approached the door, and I struggled with it. On one hand, alcohol would sure help me relax. On the other, I have to spend all my money, and I had little to begin with. Art is so cool around here. Hey, Bob. Jack, good to see a familiar face. Like you see any other faces in here. You would be surprised. I doubt I've ever seen as many new people as during the last 2 weeks. How come? Beats me. Ever since they built the highway, there's almost no traffic around here, especially at this time of the year. But hey, who am I to complain? The more customers, the more money comes in. Anyway, what brings you here? Off for a trip? Yep, I feel like I need some time off. Where's Hope? Isn't she coming with you? Not this time. That's a first. I thought you were trying to teach her survival skills. She seemed into it. I still do. It's just, well, I had a big fight with Natalie over it, and do you want to talk about it? Natalie gave me a lecture about kids and responsibility. She said Hope didn't want to learn about hunting. I mean, I guess it turned out to be true. Hope admitted it. I don't know what to think of all this yet. Sometimes I feel like the worst father in the universe. I must admit, I see where they're coming from. Shooting prey wouldn't be my cup of tea either. What? You too? Guess this makes me the last barbarian in town. I like animals. They're living beings just like us. Instead of killing, I'd rather protect them and admire their beauty. You know, I wanted to become a vet once. Didn't work out, though. I'm still paying off a painful loan for trying. Hunting isn't only about killing. It's about going back to your primal self. It's about tapping into your true instincts. It actually teaches you to respect nature. Well, maybe. It still ends with the animal dying. I believe you can have another kind of strength. For example, Natalie seems to be pretty strong and capable enough to provide for you guys, even though I doubt she ever shot an animal. Yeah, about that. You and Nat aren't getting too familiar with each other? What do you mean? She told me you're her handyman. Just wanted to do a good deed and help a woman in need. A knight in shining armor. Where's your horse, Chief? Same place yours is. What can I get you, Jack? I'll have a lighter, some batteries, and a few of those energy bars. Oh, and a flashlight, last one I had's dead. Do you have any bandages? Sure thing. Great, I'll take one. Safer to have some. Should I get you the usual order as well? Actually, I think I still have some left in my cabin, but... nah. I think I'll pass this time around. Okay, so just flashlight, bandage, batteries, energy bars. Here we go. Here you are. Thanks. Here you are. Thanks. Keep the change. Bob? Yeah? You said there's some different kinds of strength in the world. I think you're right, and I want my daughter to have all of them. I want her to be ready for whatever life throws at her. You're a good man, Jack. Your heart's in the right place. You just need to find your way. Gotta do my best, I guess. Have a good one, man. Bye, Chief. I had everything I needed. I intended to go straight to the cabin, leaving all the worries behind for a while. I was looking forward to getting away from the issues at home and focusing on something else. As I was putting my supplies into the car, I noticed something strange. A young woman was strolling down the roadside. At first she caught my attention simply because she was coming from outside the town. The longer I watched her, the stranger it seemed. She looked to be around her 30s, but she was dressed more like a teenager. I was pretty sure she wasn't from around town either. Couldn't figure out what she was doing there all by herself. Her clothes didn't suggest that she had come for a hike. They were far too thin for the time of the year, and she wore heavy makeup. It was smudged here and there if she just run away from a bad party. I thought that maybe her date went south and some guy threw her out of the car without a warning. She looked confused, but strangely enough, she seemed happy at the same time. I decided I might as well talk to her. I mean, wouldn't you be curious too? Hello, miss. Hello, angry mister. I'm not angry. My name's Jack. I'm Jane. Is everything alright? You look a bit lost. Well, I guess I am. Where am I? We're in Grayville. Oh, wow. Never heard of it. Is it pretty? Wow. Aren't you a little, worried? How'd you get here? I don't know, really. Should I be worried? I have no idea. How come you don't know how you got here? I'd rather not say. It's embarrassing. You can tell me. I might be able to help you. To be honest, I have this condition. Sometimes I forget things, like, literally. Like, what happens if you live the way I do? Which is... I don't make much waitressing, so sometimes I volunteer to take part in a test. Do you know what a test is? Not really. You know, when a pharmaceutical company wants to introduce a new drug to the market, or a bunch of shrinks want to take a look into your subconscious. You sign some papers, swallow some pills, get examined, get paid. Simple. Unless you die in the process. Or you can get invited to a random location where they put you with some other people in unusual situations. Then they observe your behavior in the group and file some papers. I'm basically a part-time lab rat. Still doesn't explain how you got here. I walked for the past couple of miles. Some random guy picked me up and dropped me here. And prior to that, I guess I was taking part in the test. I think I gotta do something with food. What was it about? I told you I don't remember. Besides, you're asking way too many questions, Jack. Is there someone we could call and ask to pick you up? That's another question. I guess we could call Jeff, but I doubt he would pick me up. Who's Jeff? My cat. Okay, it seems that you're doing fine. I'm hungry. I'll be going now. Wait, there is one thing you could help me with. Yes, I'm a little cold. I guess, yeah. There's a jacket in my car. Wait here. Here, you can have it. Thanks a lot. I'll borrow it for now, but I'd like to send it back to you when I get home. I didn't think you were such a kind person, Jack. You remind me of someone. Of whom? Can't remember his name. He was a guy working at the science facility. They were testing some new medicine and I volunteered. I remember he looked kind of glum, like he was disappointed. He wouldn't stare at me through a glass window. Oh, he would stare at me through a glass window. I thought it was cute, as if he was too shy to speak. Anyways, would you give me your address so I can send your jacket back? Sure, I'll write it down for you. Here. Thanks, Joe. I'll send it back with some gifts. It's Jack. Listen, talk to Bob at the station down there and ask him to fetch Hal Grifford for you, okay? He's a sheriff around here and he'll help you. Hal Grifford. Got it. Gosh, I'm so hungry. I need to eat something. You'll figure something out. Sure. See you around, Joe. I watched as I watched her. As I watched her walk away, I was pretty sure I'd never see that jacket again. Then again, I wouldn't be myself if I just left her there like that. It was already getting late, and I still had a long way to reach my cabin. And I wasn't already a big fan of driving after dark. I decided to not waste any more time. With my favorite band on the speakers, I turned on the engine and hit the road. The route I had to take wasn't popular since most of the traffic moved up the highway. On one hand, it was good for the town with less cars moving through. On the other, little traffic was bad for business such as Bob's. It was bad for business in general. If it hadn't been for the military base employees, the town would have dried out. A few miles out of the town, I saw a woman. She was leaning back against her car smoking. She appeared relaxed, enjoying the moment. Seeing her in the middle of nowhere, chilling, gave me a funny feeling. She seemed to be okay. With being by herself, I thought I could use company like that. Back then, I assumed she was just another solitary soul passing through, never to be seen again. I began to understand what Bob had talked about, seeing new people and all. For a second, I thought about stopping and enjoying a smoke with her. It's not like I'd be cheating or anything. Would it? Never. Before I had a chance to make up my mind, I passed her and kept on driving. I had no idea what was coming from me. It took me forever to reach my father's land. I was tired and didn't know why. For a second, I thought about the woman from the gas station. What was her name again? Jane. Weird one, that one. I never actually met somebody who got involved in various tests and experiments for a living. Do they mean Jane like Jane Doe? That'd be funny. Aroo! Before said that was giving me a sense of peace. My father had brought a large piece of land back when he was in his 20s. I wasn't sure what he'd had his idea for it. Since he was gone, the land belonged to me. If I'd known any better, I would have started a plantation of some sort. Chopped down part of the trees and sold them to the highest bidder, but I knew that there was something else about this place. About that cabin. Couldn't put my finger on it, but I was drawn to it like a bee to a flower. 20 minutes later, I finally reached the cabin. Hidden deep in the woods, it was nearly out of reach. It was a place where I could cut off the constant noise. That was exactly what I needed. The sun was already down. I stopped in front of the door to enjoy the silence. That Jane must have been a junkie or a hooker, probably both. I might have made a mistake by giving her my jacket and address. There's no way she could have just appeared in Grey Village out of nowhere. She probably had her pimp looking for her. The sheriff would take care of it for sure. I wanted to enjoy the forest tranquility, but I couldn't. Dog was barking somewhere in the distance. Thought it was just a stray mutt. After a few seconds, the barking stopped. Let out a heavy sigh and opened the door. I instantly felt the familiar smell of wood and old blankets. somewhere else. Yep. Inside the cabin. First thing I did was find some matches and build a fire. It was a long time since I've stayed at the cabin. The air inside had gone stale. The furniture was covered in a thick dust. Judging by the smell, a fungus had crept in somewhere. Felt like home. Fungus is home. I didn't have the energy to take care of it. As soon as I got inside, all my weariness caught up with me. Tossed my bag onto the bed and sat down beside it. The worn-out wood creaked under my weight. I thought that I'd finally have a chance to relax, but I was wrong. As soon as I sat down, my phone started to ring. The usual cheerful ringtone was now almost painful to listen to. I remember the times when you needed to walk around the house to get a signal. Now these bloody things can catch up with you even in the middle of nowhere. I reached down for my phone and checked the screen. There was a single name on it. Natalie. Right, I was supposed to call her. Was it already time for an aftermatch? Can't say I was ready, but I couldn't simply ignore her either. Hey, Nat. Hi, Jack. How was the road? It was fine. I just got settled. Good. Is everything alright? What do you think? Now, look, I don't know what took hold of me, but I know I crossed the line. You have no idea how much it hurts. I know No, you don't. Alright, listen, I don't want to fight anymore. I'm tired, and yes, I know, there's too much on your mind. There's always something more important than the working out our problems. I am trying to work out our problems. And how are you planning on doing that? On your own? By yourself? You don't talk to me. Have you ever thought that it might be worth it to include me in on the process? You know what, Jack? You can be so selfish sometimes. You seem to be blind to a very simple yet profound truth. What are you talking about? It's not only about you, not anymore. Think about it while you're out there. Anyway, the hospital just called. Apparently they got some hard junkie case over there. I need to take a nighter and put Hope to sleep early. She gonna be okay? Yeah, don't worry. I asked Hal to check on her later. He said it's fine. When Hope's out, she's out for good. Speaking of the little devil, she wants to talk to you. Hold on. Hi, Dad! Hi, sweetie. Mom said there was something on your mind? Yes, I was thinking very hard about the hunting, and I came up with a great idea. Listen, I'm all ears. What if instead of shooting the animal, we can catch them? We can bring them home later and tame them in the backyard. I would take good care of them, and Oh, sweetie. That's a great idea. It was an awful lie, I know, but hearing how proud she was of her idea, I simply couldn't bring myself to break it to her. Sadly, I was always been a poor liar. You don't sound convincing, Dad. Well, you see, we just can't tame wild animals. They're much happier in the wild. That's where they belong. Then maybe we could at least get a dog? I always wanted one. A dog can protect me and Mom if something scary happens, and he can be my best friend. Oh, we talked about this. A dog is a huge responsibility, and with me and Mom working, we wouldn't be able to take care of it properly. I could take care of it myself. Maybe this way Mom could come on a trip with us, and she wouldn't be so scared of the forest. There is a big dog next to her, right? We'll talk about it when I get back. But Dad, anyway, I heard you'll be staying alone tonight. No scary movies, okay? Okay, nothing scary, I promise. Don't tell Mom, but I'll be watching Princess Dragon. Princess Dragon? Aren't you a little bit too old for fairy tale? It's my favorite movie. How you know it's a fairy tale if you've never seen it? Well, I asked you to watch it with me once, remember? You never did. We only do things you want to do. No, I'm sorry. I've been busy, okay? Yeah, because you're always sitting on your shed with your monster car, or you're out somewhere far without me. Have fun by yourself, Dad. She hung up on me. That was the first. It wasn't a proper way to act for a child. I realized that I never noticed how quickly she became like her mother. She was all Natalie, alright. For a moment, I just sat there staring blankly at the screen of my phone. As soon as I had nothing to really focus on, all the thoughts I've been trying to suppress throughout the day started to come up. Thoughts about Natalie, thoughts about Hope. Too scared to tell me that she didn't want to spend time with me the way I thought she wanted. Tears in her eyes when she asked if I would rather have a son in the discussion we just had. I knew I'd need to face these things eventually, but not at the moment. Back then, I just wanted to rest. Was that too much to ask for? With a heavy heart, I got up and started searching for my loyal companion. I found her lying behind the bed, waiting for me. If I had known that so many thoughts would catch up with me, I would have bought an extra one when Bob had suggested so. The bottle felt heavy in my hand, full of golden liquid. I looked down on the label only to notice something unexpected. Hey, look, old man, isn't it your favorite brand? Bottle. These days, thoughts about my father rarely crossed my mind, so when I saw the label, I couldn't help but smile. How many times have we drunk it together? Twice? Once for my 21st birthday, and once again when I came back to take care of you. You promised to drink with me again when my first child was born. You ran out of time, old man. I knew that if I took a sick, this conversation would go south. That's why I decided to go to sleep. Sleep, man. This was too much excitement for one day. I didn't feel like indulging myself in a drunken trip down memory lane any longer. Besides, I was looking forward to some quiet time next day. Put the bottle away and dozed off. Yeah, I'm not a big advocate for, like, drinking when you're upset. It's not healthy. Then again, eating when you're upset's not any better. Reporting in. What's the status? She's on the move again. I found her tracking device. It looks like she ripped it away from her own teeth. I've spoken with the guy who saw her at the local gas station. Seems she's got tangled up with the local authorities. Nothing I can't handle. This better not influence your schedule. It won't, sir. Good. You have 24 hours to contain this situation. Keep a low profile. Yes, sir. The additional asset has been involved, by the way. Once the target is contained, we will have to add another task for you. Understood. That night I slept like a baby. To my own surprise, I woke up fresh and energetic, which is rarely the case. It didn't take me long to understand why. When I looked out the window, I noticed that the sun was already high. Must have been out for at least 10 hours. Which meant I've wasted my first day. No animal I was interested in would be active in the middle of the day. I heard the barking again. The dog still ought to be out there somewhere. What's wrong with this damn mutt? I closed the window, but it got me thinking. Why would a dog still be out there? I decided to check it out. Leaving it like this could be dangerous, especially if the dog was aggressive. Stumbling upon it during the hunt could end badly. Grabbed a pocket knife from the shelf in my bag with Natalie's sandwiches. The stuff I had brought at the gas station was still inside. Took my rifle too. Dog had rabies or some other disease. It would have fallen on me to do something about it. Armed, I left the cabin. Following the barking was difficult. I couldn't use any of my usual tracks, so I walked into the forest blindly. Whenever the dog went silent, I left without any clues where to go. So I just waited patiently for it to start making noise again. Can't say I really minded in the end. Chance to spend time surrounded by nature was the reason why I'd come out here in the first place. Fortunately, but oddly at the same time, it seemed the dog wasn't moving at all, like it was just sitting there barking the whole day. Wandering through the forest took me almost 2 hours. It must have been long past noon when I finally found it. Aww. That's so sad. That happens a lot. I'd expected many things, but not what I saw. Instead of a stray mutt roaming around, it was a dangerously looking hound tied to a tree. He was a magnificent beast. Big and sturdy. I didn't know much about dogs, but even I could recognize a purebred when I saw one. Looking like he'd spent at least a couple days in the forest, he was a bit dirty, but still healthy and strong. There was a bloody wound on his neck. The collar must have cut his skin when he struggled to set himself free. Some bastard must have left him here to die. I laid my hands on a guy who did this. Even just thinking about it made me furious. Someone decided to leave an animal to starve to death, like he couldn't leave it in a shelter, and why? Out of shame? Because it was a long drive? They're all trivial, yet they both were. Give doggy sandwich. Hey there, buddy. Oh, okay, easy now, easy. Tried to approach the dog, but it turned out more difficult than I expected, and I had to focus on keeping all my fingers intact. First of all, I had to free him somehow. Touching the collar was out of the question. Tinkering with it at this point would cause him too much pain. Cutting the rope seemed about a better option, but I couldn't do it without getting closer to the dog. I needed to somehow gain his trust. Let's do a little save. I'm one of those people that like save at every instance. I didn't want to make him feel more threatened than he already was. That's why I decided not to rush things and slowly approach him from the side. He seemed tense and alert, but didn't make any move. Can't say it was a big progress, but hey, at least there was no growling this time. When he looked at me baring his fangs, this wasn't the way to go after all. I had to start from the beginning. With the rope tied to his neck, I couldn't more or less predict how far the dog could reach. That's why I decided to approach him head on. In the worst case scenario, I'd just get out of his range. It was a poor choice. He didn't attack me, but he definitely felt threatened. For he took a step back and bared his teeth, wrinkling his nose. I could see it in his eye that he didn't want to fight me, but he knew that he can't run away if I got any closer. He would snap. I didn't want him to feel challenged, so I gave him space by averting my gaze. I was still a little worried how he'd react, so I watched him from the corner of my eye, ready to back off when needed. But this seemed like the dog finally gained some confidence. He started to wag his tail timidly. Alongside the fear, I caught a glimpse of curiosity. Fangs were still there, but more as a reminder rather than a weapon ready to be used. He was waiting for my next move. Finally got my chance. We were still far from friendly terms, but that was about to change. Reached for my bag and opened it slowly. The lovely smell picked the dog's attention immediately. I had something no meat eater would be able to resist, especially not one that had just spent a few days standing in the forest. I fished into the bag, and pulled out of Natalie's sandwiches. I'm sorry, Nat. Pains me to do this, but it's a necessary sacrifice. I know you would understand if you were here. With a heavy heart, I grabbed one of the sandwiches Natalie made for me yesterday. It was probably not the healthiest food for an animal, but hey, you probably didn't care. Time for worrying about nutritional values to come later. I ripped the packaging apart and threw its contents near the dog. It disappeared faster than I thought possible. The dog must have been here for days. You must have been really hungry, huh? Need a baby! No worries, there's more of it. I unpacked 2 more sandwiches and tossed them to the dog. With his fangs out of my way, I finally had my chance to take care of the rope. It was a thick one with polyester cover. I didn't know much about ropes, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably used for climbing or sailing, somewhere where durability counts. The knot used to tie it around the tree wasn't trivial either. If the animal tugged in an attempt to free itself, it only grew tighter, and at this point there was no way to untie it. Not without a pair of sharp teeth ready to bite my arm off. I needed to cut the rope somehow. The problem was that I wasn't sure if I was prepared. I quickly recalled all the things that I had with me. I could use pocket knife. Well, an obvious choice. What else is a pocket knife for? Sadly, it wasn't that easy. The knife was pretty dull, still useful for things like opening cans, but not so much for cutting. With a rope so thick it would have taken ages before I got through even half of it. I needed something else. Was it a rifle? Yeah, no shit. I don't understand. Like what, just give the dog another sandwich? Besides, it's not like I could actually use them for cutting anything. Flashlight? No, just no, there's no way to use the flashlight to cut. Wait, I have an idea. What? How the fuck was I supposed to be able to get from that? Took the flashlight apart and picked the bulb. What? This is ridiculous. Using the pocket knife, I broke the light bulb to expose the tongue and fragment. When I placed it under the rope and carefully touched the base of the bulb with the battery, the fragment lit up immediately. The heat allowed me to melt the cover of the rope, which made cutting it much easier. I feel like that's a little far-fetched. He sat there and was growling from time to time. I knew that he would attack if he seemed hesitation or fear. Dogs responded to emotion, so I focused on the rope and tried not to think about him snapping at me. It took me a couple of minutes, but eventually the dog was free. Hey buddy, your prison time's over. Woof! What do you want to do now that you have much choice? Sorry mate, but you look like a typical lap dog. Staying out here is out of the question. Plus your neck looks pretty bad. Someone should take care of it. Perhaps I know a guy, but I need you to come back to my cabin. It's an hour's walk from here. So what do you think? You up for it? Rough! I'll take it as a yes. It probably wasn't a yes. The dog was still very wary and rather hesitant to follow me. No wonder it was impossible to tell how long he'd been tied to that tree. Thankfully, last of the sandwiches did the trick. Yikes. Ugh. I was able to lead the dog all the way back to the cabin. I pulled my phone out and called for reinforcements. I knew how to patch up small scratches, but this guy needed some more skill than me. Hey, veterinarian boy. Hey, Jack, you remember you must have been good with lady. Oh, you remember you must have been good with lady. Yeah, sure. Need your help. You know a thing or two about treating animals, right? Yeah, a thing or two. Why? Gotta change your heart about shooting animals? No, I still hold my point. But I found a dog to a tree. Some bastard left him here to die. He's in bad shape. Did you beat up the guy? No, but I would have if I had the chance. Anyway, the dog needs your attention. Wow, I mean, it's awful. Let me grab my gear and I'll be right there. Are you gonna leave your store unattended? Yeah, 2 hours won't hurt me. I've earned the weekend's money already. The troops that arrived recently at Murphy's base left a lot of cash. Alright, thanks man. See you soon. Bob came earlier than I expected. My guess was he's been speeding all the way. Hey Jack, where's the patient? Oh, it's him over there in the little fireplace. You don't waste time, do you? Over there. It took some convincing to get the dog to walk through the door, but in the end, the prospect of a warm place to rest won him over. Bob approached the animal slowly. He clicked his tongue to get the dog's attention. The dog exerted his hand, and then he extended his hand so the dog could smell it. Like me, he seemed to know exactly what to do. Bob reached down and removed the collar. I wondered if he'd been able to keep his hands intact. Fortunately, he was. Not only that, he also managed to clean the wound, even though the dog clearly wasn't happy about it. The animal began growling and leaning away, but the fearless man grabbed him firmly. The dog calmed down. Although I wouldn't openly admit it, I was impressed. I would never guessed that a simple guy from a small gas station knew so much about handling animals. To be honest, I used to look down on him. I didn't know why exactly. He had abandoned his studies. He seemed amazingly skilled. I doubt it was because of poor marks. Alright, I did as much as I could. The wound isn't actually that bad. His neck is swollen and there was some bleeding, but the cut wasn't deep. He's a tough little fellow. But remember, in the end, I'm not a specialist. You should take him to a professional. Yeah, I know. It's just there's no vet around here, and driving this fellow back home with that wound would have been pretty hard on him. That's why I called you. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be open to trips with strangers yet. I also brought you some dog food. Don't give him too much at once. If you didn't eat for a few days, he might not digest it properly. Anyway, what will you do with him? I don't know yet. When I found him, I just had to help him. I didn't have much time to think about what to do with him later. I don't feel like giving him away to a shelter. Maybe you could take him? He seems to trust you. I would love to have a dog. You know fully well that I just can't. Jack, don't tempt me. Why not? You seem to be doing well these days, and no. You don't know how serious my debts are. I won't take responsibility for a living creature when I can't predict if I'll be able to pay my own bills next month. How a young guy like you got in such a debt? Well, long story short, back when I was still studying, me and my brother took over our father's company. It was in pretty bad shape. We were sure we could restore it and start making money again. I even dropped out of college to have enough time to make it work. Man, it didn't work out. Amount of work overwhelmed us both, but we didn't want to give up. We were both stubborn people, me and my brother. Eventually, we went to a bank for a loan. That's how we ended up in debt. At one point, my brother decided it was all my fault, that I hadn't done enough, that I was slacking. He accused me of all his bad decisions. I snapped and left. I've taken his gun with me. A few months later, I ended up here. Sounds tough. Yeah, I doubt there's anything worse than losing your close one's support. Sometimes it's better to leave them than to manage with a tough person. But hey, it's all water under the bridge. Unless my brother comes after me to collect his gun. I didn't know you own a gun. Well, I need to look after my business, you never know. So what do you intend to do with the dog? Actually, I was talking with Hope about adopting a dog yesterday, right before we started arguing. You seem to argue with your family a lot recently. I can sense your anger. Oh, really? What is it? Does my aura give it away? See, it comes out again. Doesn't matter if you believe me or not. Anyway, Hope accused me of not spending enough time with her, so I was thinking maybe getting her a dog would be a good way of reconnecting with her. Sounds like what she needs is your love, not a pet. A dog was just her way of drawing your attention. I know, but it seems like a good start, right? Sure, any reason to spend more time with your kid is good. You should give the dog a name. A name. Coming up with one is always tricky. It would have taken weeks if I was really to think it through. I decided to just go with what came to my mind now. I looked at the dog. He tilted his head. The first idea was pretty simple. Odin, the Norse god of war, victory, and hunting. It was a good, strong name. The second name that came to mind was Xander. As a boy, I really hated learning history, yet I always liked listening about Alexander the Great. It seemed more thrilling than the rest of the subjects. I wouldn't mind naming my dog after him. Last idea emerged when I thought about Hope. What was her favorite movie of hers called? Dragon something? And where a dragon, there must have been a brave knight to defeat it. This guy here was big enough to be called Knight. I like Knight. Knight's cute. I'll name him Knight. Fits him well. By the way, Jack, there's one more thing I needed to tell you. Don't tell me you and Nat have an affair. I would have to shoot you right here. Please don't. I still got my debts to pay off. What is it then? There was this chick at the gas station asking for her house. She said she knew you. Oh yeah, no, I mean, she's just a chick I met and wanted to help. She seemed out of place. At first I thought she was some kind of chunky. She gave me this really weird feeling. She was shivering too. Anyway, Hal took her to the station, so she's not my problem anymore. That's not all. Another woman arrived late evening asking after that chick. There's something about her I couldn't quite put my finger on. And boy, she was a stunner. You should have seen her. She was lean like a dough. What was I saying? The other woman? Oh yeah, she asked about the military base. I thought she might have been a spook or something. A spook? Been watching too many action flicks, Chief.
Telling you, man, something's going down. So many new soldiers arrived yesterday. Now this woman, there's also a guy with a briefcase this morning, and he... Hold up, Bob, you're getting carried away. Just another weekend in town, only with some outsiders traveling through. Yeah, you're probably right. I better head back. Got a business to run. See you later, Chief. When Bob left, I approached Knight. I decided to try Bob's trick to see if I can get a similar result. I clicked my tongue and extended my hand. At first, the dog just sniffed my palm, reluctant to do anything more, but after a brief moment of hesitation, he licked my fingers. I took it as a good sign. It was a start. So, does that mean we're friends now? Woof! Good boy. I scratched his back, causing a lot of tail wagging. It was just as I thought. He was a lap dog. His previous aggression must have been just caused by a mix of fear and pain. As I patted him on the head, he was nothing more but a giant pet. A pet with a jaw full of fangs and enough biting force to take your hand off, but still a pet. Hope would love him for sure. Funny that I came here to escape from all the tension with Natalie, but thanks to my new friend, I wanted to go back. Wanted to see the surprise on their faces. Wanted to see how happy Hope would be and how Natalie, unsure at first, would change her mind as soon as she saw them playing together. I knew it wouldn't resolve all of our issues, that I would still need money to face my shortcomings. Dog gave me a starting point. I knew what to do and had the confidence to do it. It didn't take Knight long to start frolicking around. It wasn't against a little wrestling playing, but knowing that the wound on his neck was still pretty fresh, I tried to do as careful as possible. Yet when nearly 30 kilos of deadly fluffiness jumped me, I got overturned in a moment. I was too afraid to grab the dog by the skin. Soon I regretted I hadn't done it, as our little play caused additional costs. Oh shit. I heard a loud crack near my pocket. Okay, buddy, stop, that's enough. No, Knight, enough. Sit. When I finally managed to get from under the dog, I reached into my pocket only to find that my phone took the whole enterprise pretty badly. How do you break your phone that easily in your pocket? My god. Dude, I can throw my phone across the room and it's not gonna do shit. I literally just threw my phone across the room not too long ago. I was throwing it at the couch, but then it, like, bounced off the couch and then landed right in the kitchen on the hard floor, face down. But it was completely fine. Fortunately, as soon as I put the battery back in, the phone came back to life. The case was cracked, but it was still unusable. I used to have... That was my first phone. Okay, so maybe it's a little more believable. You drop my phone and, like, the battery pack would just come out. In the end, I decided to call it a night. It's been a long day. I planned on going for a hunt in the morning, so hitting the bed was pretty early was pretty crucial. Reporting in. This is not a scheduled call, Agent. Woman got away. No one told me what to expect of her. She attacked several people at the hospital. I saw her. Calm down, Agent. This wasn't in the briefing. The girl basically bit her way out of the hospital and jumped off a third-story window. She was, like, mad. I've never seen anything like that, and the locals are shocked. Sheriff wants to organize a manhunt. I've already seen soldiers from the military base moving around the town. The town will undergo a quarantine in a matter of 2 hours. This should make your second task easier. Your briefing. Listen to me. If what she's carrying is infectious, the quarantine won't be able to contain it. People will die, and I need to find her. Calm down, Agent. Focus on your second target, and let us do our part. What about my extraction? You'll figure something out. Your task is to secure the scientist and get him out alive. And the second asset? He is none of your concern. Find the scientist, get him out alive. Bring him to us. Do not fail this time. We'll be very sorry to see you go. I'm guessing this is like a zombie thing? It was still dark outside when I woke up. Knight was sleeping on the carpet near the fireplace, and I rubbed my eyes and reached down for the phone to check the time. Weird. Seems the battery's dead. I was pretty sure it was around 40% the evening before. It seemed impossible to have discharged overnight. I must have forgotten to turn it off or something. There's nothing I could do about it now. I plugged in the charger and went to wake up my new friend. Hey, buddy, in for a hunt? Come on, you'll like it. I could use some help. Think you're up for it? That's more like it. To be honest, I had no idea if taking Night was a good idea. There was a pretty big chance he would scare all the other animals away. People often hunted with their hounds, but you needed to know how to train your dog for it. Worst case scenario, we'd just have a nice stroll around the forest. Took my pocket knife, my rifle, and a piece of bandage with me. I wanted to be prepared better than the day before. I knew the area surrounding the cabin pretty well. I had a general idea where deers tended to roam. Even if I wouldn't shoot away, it was always great to spot one. That's what I had tried to communicate to Bob. It's not about the shot, it's about the hunt. We were walking quietly for half an hour, and I was thinking about the guy who had left Night. I had no respect for such a person. I remembered the rope. I must have belonged to a climber or somebody working with boats. Bastard. Suddenly, Night stopped and started sniffing around. I knew he must have caught a trace. I had a feeling he was a real predator after all. I decided to trust my instincts. Trust his instincts. Dog's sense of smell could guide you places you would otherwise miss. He stood still for a moment, focused on one direction, and he began to growl, but I couldn't see anything. The dog began to run. I struggled to keep up with him. I was trying to guess what we both were up against. A bear or a deer? Something else. However, what I saw was a person. A young man in a blue sport jacket and a baseball hat. Silver carabiners at his belt? I don't know what that... I don't fucking know. His belt rattled as he walked. Compared to me, he made a hell of a lot of noise. I've never seen him before. What did I recognize, though, was the place where we were in. The same place where I found Night the day before. Before I had a chance to connect the dots, all hell broke loose. The two of us weren't the only people around. There was someone else, someone I didn't expect to see again. It was that woman from the gas station, Jane. She was moving extremely fast. She ran up to the unsuspecting guy and jumped right on top of him, knocking him down. She leaned down towards his arm and... Uh-oh. That's when the screaming started. At first, I couldn't really comprehend what was going on. My mind tried to come up with some kind of explanation. Maybe they were just fooling around. Maybe it was some stupid charade. Maybe I was daydreaming. It took some time before the reality of what was happening hit me fully. I would have never forgotten that sight. Jane bit a part of the guy's arm out and swallowed it. I saw her face. She was covered in blood. And when she bent down again to sink her teeth in the guy's throat, it was no longer a human face. She was devouring a living person. Can you imagine it? The guy was screaming in pain. He was trying to push her off, but didn't have enough strength when she reached out for the neck. It was already too late for him. Soon the screaming was replaced by gargling and gnawing. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed with fear. Night reacted first. He lunged at Jane, chewing his jaw on her hand. No! No! I don't know where her strength came from, but she tore the jaw! That's when she noticed me. Even though there was more than 20 meters behind us, I could see her eyes. They weren't human anymore. She wasn't human. She was something else. There was nothing in her face besides primal rage. It was an ancient fury of a wild beast in its most basic form. She lunged right at me. Her moves were quick and determined. She caught up with me before I had any time to think. Moments like this make you act on your instincts. Never gave it a conscious thought. Raised my rifle, my body acted on its own, recognizing the familiar motion. I aimed and took one shot, and for a split second my mind became crystal clear. Wasn't sure if it would make any difference, but I breathed out and waited the sentence. It was enough. I shot her right in the chest and through a lung. She was squirming on the grass, whimpering as her breath grew desperate and her moves sluggish. She started crying. When I shot animals, I always made sure they didn't suffer. If my shot missed its mark, I shot again. But this was different. I stood above a young woman crying from pain, a woman who tried to eat a man alive a few seconds prior, a woman who had met 2 days earlier. What was I supposed to do? Shoot her again. It's a fucking zombie, bro. I couldn't stand the sight of anymore. I reached for my rifle and took aim. As I looked through the gun sight, our eyes met again, and this time something was different. She was calm. It looked like if her eyes begged me to end the pain. Those weren't the eyes of a beast anymore. It was her. I couldn't bring myself to speak her name. The shot broke the dead silence of the forest. Not sure how long I was still staring at her empty eyes. They were mesmerizing. At one point it came to me. It was the first time I'd ever shot another human. I was a murderer. I killed a person. It didn't matter why. I ended the life of somebody who had a family, who had friends and dreams, and I took it all away. And I threw up. As I was struggling to catch my breath and get a grip on myself, I remembered that Knight was still out there and I had to find him. The first thought that came to my mind after was Natalie. I touched my pocket searching for my cell phone. I needed to get back to the cabin. As I decided to head straight back to my cabin, I heard a quiet whine. I looked through, frantically searching for Knight. He was nearby, whimpering softly and licking the face of a now dead man. I wonder if that was his former owner. If so, what was he doing here? Had he come to end his unfinished business, too afraid that someone would find out? Or maybe he had to change of heart and came to get his dog back. Guess we'll never know. I called out to Knight and started running back. He followed me, limping. After getting hit like that, it was no wonder. I had no idea what was going on and why that woman attacked me. The only thing I knew for certain was that I needed to call Natalie. I had to make sure she was safe, and there was no time to waste. I picked up my pace. The sight of a masked car was still fresh in my head. With all my might, I tried to think about something else, but the memory of blood and the torn out fragments of flesh were haunting me restlessly. It was like a horror movie playing over and over right in front of my eyes. My stomach turned upside down whenever I thought about what happened, and I could picture Jane's eyes staring back at me when I had taken the shot. I knew it was the right thing to do. It had to be. I'd shot a young woman point blank in the head. There was nothing I could have done for her at that point. She was dangerous. I saw what she had done to the other guy. She came after me like an animal. It was either me or her, and I was the one with the rifle. Deep in my mind, I thanked God. I was grateful that she wasn't as young as she wanted to appear. I wouldn't bring myself to shoot a child. I couldn't stop my hands from shaking. I clenched my teeth and tried to focus. I thought about having myself some whiskey, but I wasn't sure if it would make any difference. I needed to talk with somebody. I needed to talk with Natalie. God, I missed her. My hand shook when I reached for my phone. I unplugged it from the charger and pushed the power button. I wanted to make the call immediately, but as soon as my phone came back to life, I got flooded with messages. Missed call, missed call, missed call, voice message, missed call, missed call. There was at least a dozen of unread messages. They're all from yesterday. How was it possible for me to miss so many calls? When I looked back at the phone, I realized how. Back when I was playing with Knight, the screen wasn't the only thing that got smashed. Must have somehow damaged the speaker. The phone must have been constantly ringing and I just didn't hear it. That would also explain why I was discharged in the morning. But who was calling me so many times and why? I needed to hear the voicemail, but the speaker wasn't working, and I did the silliest thing that came to my mind. I punched the goddamn thing. You know what? It worked. I quickly connected to my voicemail. You have 4 new messages. First new message. Message recorded on Saturday, 11:48 p.m. Is that a good one? Jack, please pick up the phone. The junkie that they brought in yesterday, she snapped. I mean, God. She attacked some of the staff, and there was only 3 of us. Another nurse and doctor. Jacob's cut bitten and scratched. I've never seen anything like that. I'm okay, but she jumped out of the window and vanished. I'm worried about Hope. I'll be heading back. Call me back soon. Second new message. Message recorded on Sunday 00:15. Pick up the phone! You need to get back here, Jack. This isn't time to play your silent treatment. Besides, this is woman's domain. People I've told you about are getting worse. Some of them got a terrible fever. One got really aggressive and we need to sedate him. Something's not right. Please call me back as soon as you get this. I'm scared. Third new message. Message recorded on Sunday 01:32 a.m. Jack! Jack, I can hear gunshots here in the hospital. I need you to get back right now. What the hell is going on? Oh no! Ah! Fourth new message. Message recorded on Sunday 04:56 a.m. I'm coming for you, Jack. I've left hope with... Stay where you are. The message ended abruptly. Then it hit me. Sunday 4:56 was 3 hours ago. All this had already happened, and Natalie... After the voicemail stopped playing, I just stood there staring at the screen. I guess I needed a moment to process what just happened. As soon as I snapped out of my stupor, I knew I had to find Nat. Nat, what the... My first instinct was to call her, but my phone had enough. The goddamn machine broke completely. The screen went black and it wouldn't respond to me pressing the keys. Night seemed to sense my distress and he came closer, woofing. Do you want to help me, buddy? I had little choice. I took Night and went off, and I knew that Natalie had been coming for me, and I knew the route she must have taken. It was a long road, but I had no other means of finding her. With the dog by my side, I clung to what little hope I had left. Alright, I'm gonna end it here for right now, guys. I really like this so far. I'm thinking it's going to be like a whole zombie thing, so I'm excited about that. I'll probably play some more this weekend, and maybe I'll push it up onto YouTube later. But for right now, thank you guys for, coming in and letting me talk through this whole thing. Let me know if you actually just want this to be a silent playthrough, if you want me to, keep reading the stuff, because I'll change it up. Anyways, you guys have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Bye!